Hello and welcome to another episode of my Wild Knitting podcast. Buckle up because I have lots of things that I want to talk about. I have finished garments, I have a little kitten that is playing with my skirt. I have a beautiful collaboration with a friend, little things that I want to show you. And let's just start. Welcome back if you've been here before, and if you're new here, welcome. I hope you'll enjoy this content. I love to share some parts of my life here, but mostly about my craft. I love knitting. I love working with different natural fibers and crafting beautiful garments and objects, and I love to bring you along on my knitting journey. Me and my partner have another channel that we opened fairly recently, and it's called Casa nel Monte, and it's a channel where we share our kind of home building journey, homesteading journey, gardening activities and all of that. So if you want, you can check it out. Okay. Before we dive into the episode, I want to read a little quote from this little book that I found secondhand a couple of months ago. It's called The Mitten Book by Ingrid Gottfridsson. I was kind of looking through it and I read this quote this morning, and it really spoke to my heart. It's about knitting, about this wonderful craft that we all, I guess, people at least that are watching this now, are passionate about. And I want to dedicate this quote to my group of wonderful women and wonderful people, wonderful wild allies. We share our lives, we share our struggles, our conflicts, our joys and achievements, and our knitting projects. And lately I've been extremely grateful. So I want to dedicate it to my wild group. This quote is by Hermanna Stengard. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing her name correctly. So here it goes. How would it look, do you think, if everyone, old and young, would sit together to knit for a while? Laughter and merriment and riddles and questions and folk tales and anecdotes from each person's life would blend together in the stitches. Then later, when you recall these events that have gone through your own fingers, stitch by stitch, they would speak their own quiet language. Do you remember? Do you remember? Love this little book. It's kind of like a mitten book. And I got it secondhand. I don't know if you can still find it around, but it gives you a little chart with a picture of the mitten, and at the beginning of the book there's a little bit of introduction and a little kind of pattern recipe. Thank you for listening. I love that little quote at the beginning. So let's dive into the episode. Today I celebrate Samhain, the 31st of October, or these days, let's say. Samhain is a Gaelic tradition, Gaelic festivity that marks the end of the harvest season and the beginning of the dark part, the dark times of the year. And yeah, some people celebrate Halloween. It's a day of celebration. So let's talk about what I'm wearing, and then I'll talk about my finished garments. I have 2 finished garments, and today I'm going to show you 3 work in progress projects and some beautiful items. So let's talk about what I'm wearing. I'm wearing this shawl, I just throw it on because I was feeling a little bit cold. Today was a beautiful sunny day. There were like 22 degrees Celsius. So quite warm for being the end of October. And so I was wearing this absolutely gorgeous blouse that you will see in a second. Let's talk about this shawl quickly. I've talked about it before. It's a pattern that I followed by, oh my god, Fox and Folk. I think it's her designer name. And it's called the Billet du Shawl. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I'll put it on the screen. And has this beautiful kind of stitch pattern throughout the shawl, and it's quite big. I wear it mostly like this across my body, like that, and then I kind of tied it at the front. Not now though, I just put it over my shoulders. But it's a very beautiful and long shawl. No, Cucita. Okay, we've been interrupted by this little demon. We have a new family member, Cucita. And I'm wearing a long skirt, and she loves to play with the ends of my skirt. But since I'm not having like tights or anything, I'm just having like bare legs. She just claws my legs, and yes. So let's go back to knitting. I really like this shawl. The yarn is nice. Not like the best yarn, I would say. It's kind of like a commercial yarn. The yarn is Drops Soft Tweed. The color is spinach, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But I really like this shawl. I highly recommend this pattern. Now she's behind me. And yes, it's quite also nice to wear it like around the neck, like this. Kind of like a scarf. It's quite wide, like long. So I love it. Now she's gonna be there exploring. It's fine. We love her. I think she's like 3 months old, and I was really worried that the dogs, we have 2 dogs for those who've never been here before. I was quite worried that the dogs wouldn't really accept or love her. But she is so courageous and so assertive. Mojo is still a bit like kind of bodyguarding her, just following her all the time, whereas Mita is more like she already accepted her. So let's talk about what I'm wearing. This beautiful blouse that is a little bit wrinkly because I don't have an iron. But this blouse was gifted to me by my friend Iveta. She has a beautiful business. She's a one-woman business, and she recently left her job to dedicate her time on this business, and we want to support her, okay? So be ready. Check out her website, check out her Etsy. She truly deserves some support. Her craft and her pieces are very high quality and very well made, and I was actually really impressed by the sturdiness of this linen. Usually I love linen as a fabric, but usually when it comes to garments, the ones that I have at least are very like see-through and very fragile, and they break, right? I have holes everywhere and they're difficult to repair, whereas this linen feels a lot more sturdy. I don't know, maybe it's the way they weave it. This is originally like a pajama blouse, but I won't wear it as a pajama because it's too beautiful and I need to show it. And there are also the shorts, the pajama shorts, but I decided to only get the blouse, and I love the color. This is one of my favorite colors, and I am so grateful to have received this. The stitching is perfect. You see that she is a seamstress. Seamstress, can you say that? She is very talented, but she doesn't only make garments, she also makes knitting accessories like knitting bags and knitting needle cases, stitch marker cases, and little cases in general, little accessories in general. So please check that out. She sent me a few little things. I'm gonna show them to you. Now I feel like a complete knitter, if that makes sense, because I made once a knitting needle case, but let me tell you, it was a little Frankenstein needle case. It was pretty big, double than this one, and it didn't look so elegant, let's say, whereas this looks so elegant and minimalistic. I love the stitching is really soft and quite simple. The design is very simple, so I think it's for everyone basically. That's what I like about the things that she sells and she makes. They're very timeless and classic and elegant. So whatever your style is, you can still style them basically. And I've already put some knitting needles and the cables, and yeah, it's super soft, this one, super soft. I'm really glad thank you, Iveta. I'm finally a complete, accomplished knitter with this knitting needle case. And my friend Ali last year gifted me this one that she knitted, and this one. So now I have all of my knitting notions are in these two little accessories. This contains all of my stitch markers and little things that I need to have for knitting projects. She also sent me this, which is very simple, and it can be a little container. You can put your keys, your jewelries, but also stitch markers. So they kind of are matching. This is more like a sturdy leather. This is more like a soft leather. And then I'll wrap up with this little collaboration. How gorgeous, Iveta. How gorgeous. I'm gonna use this. This is basically a project bag, right? With these beautiful leather straps or handle, and linen, beautiful linen fabric. And it has also inside the fabric with her logo, Iveta Bauman. I don't know if I pronounced your name correctly, but I love it. And Yes, I'm gonna use it as a knitting bag, but I also am gonna use it as a beautiful, elegant city bag. When I go to town, I can show it. How beautiful! How beautiful! And it feels quite soft and sturdy. So, Iveta, thank you. Thank you very much. And please go check her out. She also, the packaging is also so beautiful and minimal. And please, please, please go and support a one-woman business. Okay. By the way, I'll leave all the links in the description box. Let's dive into my knitting, because I have several things to show you. The first object that I want to show you is a finished garment. I finally finished my Azucena pullover. Here it is. This is a pattern by Claudia Quintanilla. So the sun is going down, so there is this strange, I love this light, but I don't know if the camera is really catching up with the beauty of this light, but it's kind of like pinkish because we had a beautiful sunset, so maybe the colors are not really true to what they are on camera. This is a very green, kind of like pea shoot green, and I used Knitting for Olive merino held together with Knitting for Olive silk mohair in this pea shoot color. It's kind of this very bright light green, and then I used some stash yarn for the color work. I truly recommend this pattern. I think it's really beautiful. I'm gonna show you how this looks on me. Voila! The softest little cloud. So here it is. It's a beautiful pattern. Now I have this outfit, so I don't know if it really fits well together, but I'm really pleased on how this turned out. I knitted, I think, either the smallest size or the second to smallest size. And it turned out perfect. It doesn't have much positive ease, nor negative. It's kind of like neutral. I didn't actually measure the ease, but it hugs my body beautifully, and I still have some room to move. I love these long sleeves, and I think, yeah, I follow the pattern to the detail, but I decided to do this kind of, I knitted 2 rows of contrast color, and then I just bind it off. So this is kind of bending or curling up a bit, but I like the effect because I don't like when sweaters kind of cinch in at the bottom hem. So now it doesn't. And I love this one. I think it looks really beautiful. I'm not sure it's really my color. Like, I love greens, but I love more like forest greens. This is a very light green, so I don't know if it fits really well with my skin type, but it doesn't matter. We're wearing it and we are vibing and we love it. And the only thing I can say about this pattern is that it's quite easy to follow. It's quite easy to follow. I think it's a perfect beginner-friendly pattern. If you've never done color work and you're into it and you want to knit a garment, a sweater, color work sweater, I would knit this for sure. And Claudia Quintanilla, Unit Toronto, she's a wonderful designer. They came out with a beautiful book called Memory Lane. Check it out. Beautiful, beautiful designs. Okay, this is my first finished object. I'm actually in love with this one. I've been wearing it quite a lot. I think I finished it maybe 3 weeks ago, and I love it. I truly love it. The yarn is nice. I usually don't love merino yarns because they peel a lot, but holding it together with silk mohair makes the merino yarn peel less. So love this one. I'm just gonna wear it because it's getting cold. Okay, let's move on. I have here another finished object. I finally finished, let me tie this up. I finally finished this red cardigan that I designed or self-drafted for myself. I used a merino yarn that I got on a second-hand platform, Vinted. And I think it's a French brand. Don't remember what it's called, but it's super similar to Knitting for Olive merino. A little bit thicker, the gauge, I guess, the way. I think it's a sport way yarn. I use needle size 4 millimeters or 4.5, now I don't remember. And I just knitted a top-down raglan cardigan, which you can find many top-down raglan cardigan on Ravelry on the internet. And then I did this, and while I was knitting the top-down raglan, I also knitted the bottom band, or this band so I added 8 stitches extra to each side of the cardigan, and I did a 1x1 ribbing, as you can see. I didn't knit the buttonholes, but I crocheted these little cords, and it was really fun. I just picked I love this cardigan. I really love it. And the bottom is at some point here you can see I've done I increased some stitches every 6 or 7 stitches. I increased 1 stitch, as you can see, so it kind of would do this kind of flaring out situation, and then I binded off the body with an I-cord bind off. The color looks a bit more cherry pink, but it's very red, like beautiful bright red color. And I've been wearing this a ton. That's the perfect cardigan for me, the perfect red cardigan, I called it. And it has this kind of balloon-ish sleeves. So very happy with the result, and very easy to you can modify any raglan cardigan pattern and just add these little crochet chains, right? So you can tie it up. And I also actually crocheted the neckline as well. Just did 1 round of crocheted double crochets. Can you say that? I'm not really a good crocheter. Okay, those are my 2 finished objects. I actually don't want to try that on, if that's okay. You will see me wear it for sure in one of my next videos, so stay tuned for that. Okay, those are my 2 finished objects. I am very happy with both of them. Very happy I finished these 2 garments because I had them on the needles, especially this one, for a while. So it feels nice to kind of bring some closure to some projects. And I started some projects that you haven't seen if you are not in my group or if you don't follow me on Instagram, I guess, but I haven't really shared much of my knitting on Instagram. You can follow me though, if you want. If you want, you can follow me on Instagram. I'll leave everything in the description box. Okay, I'm gonna quickly show you this. This I cast it on a few evenings ago. just because I wanted to make something for Mike. And I had this beautiful yarn in my stash by Cozy Posy Yarn Co. This is the merino, her merino base called So Soft. It's a DKW yarn, and this is this gorgeous kind of light sky blue. I love it. I love this yarn. As I said, I'm not like a huge fan of merino, but this is a non-superwash merino yarn, and it feels like touching a cloud. Love it. So I started a hat for him. It fits actually perfectly. We already tried it on, and I'm kind of following a pattern, the loom hat. And since I'm using another, it's like a little bit different gauge. This pattern is a free pattern, but it's knitted with needle size 4.5 millimeters, so it's a bigger gauge than mine. I'm using needle size 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 millimeters. And instead of casting on 112 stitches for the largest size of the hat, I cast it on 120 stitches. It's a free pattern, so I can tell you. 120 stitches, and it's perfect. It fit him perfectly, and the only modification I've done, apart from casting on a little bit more stitches, is a 1x1 ribbing hat, right? I've done like one row of knitted stitches here. So when you fold it, it stays folded, and it has this kind of like nice edge. I don't know. I really like it. I really like it. And yeah, Mika will have another hat. He uses hats throughout the entire winter. I'm a lot more like have a more warm physiology, if that makes sense. So I use hats, but not as much as him. So I want to knit him quite a few hats. I recommend this pattern. It's really nice, and this yarn is a dream. I have other colors. I'm gonna knit many hats also for Christmas for family members, because this year I can't knit massive projects for people in my life because I have tons to deal with. So that's a little project that I have on the go. It's quite simple, quite intuitive knitting, and very addictive because of the softness of the yarn. Let's go to another pattern that I casted on. I don't think you've seen it. It's a shawl. Okay, I had to move because there's very little light coming in this room for filming this podcast. So now I'm actually in front of a window trying to catch more natural light. I hope it's fine. The background is a bit messy, but we're okay. We're family. We don't judge each other for our messy rooms and messy homes. Okay, so let's talk about this shawl. I finally casted on the Colville shawl by Gabriella Merriweather Knitting. I've knitted this pattern before and I love it. I've been knitting it for the second time, and I'm feeling at home with it. That's the best description that I can give you about that pattern. It looks complicated, but it's not. It has 3 sections, this moss stitch section, this lattice section, and another little section with kind of like a flower motif, like yarn overs and stuff, at the border basically of the shawl. However, I've modified slightly the shawl, and it has some mistakes if you look closely, but we don't look closely. I'll show you the mistakes. But basically because I didn't have, I'm playing yarn chicken. Let's be clear. Let's be honest. So this is what I have left. This is a beautiful yarn by Cesia, I think, yarns, and is an alpaca and wool blend, 50% alpaca, 50% wool. And now the little kitten is playing with it. No, Cucita, if you want to stay, you stay here. Okay. And yeah, I didn't have enough yardage to knit the entire pattern following the pattern, so I decided to start the little lattice section here earlier than the pattern recommended. So the stitch count was a bit off, and you can see it in the beginning. It looks quite neat, and then there are like big strange mistakes, like this one looks strange. They're not really like regular kind of squares, or yeah, but it's not bad. It doesn't look bad. It's just, if you look closely, they're not really perfect squares, or how do you call this shape in English? Rombi. Well, so yeah, I made some mistakes, but I'm gonna follow the rest of the pattern, even though the stitch count is off, quite off. I'm really excited to have this done so I can start wearing it. I truly love it. Truly love it. I'm using a needle size 5mm needles, whereas she recommends, I think, so the gauge, my gauge is bigger. I think she used in the sample she knitted needle size 3.5, if I'm not mistaken, 3.5mm. But as I've said in the past, you can knit shawls with whatever needle size and whatever yarn gauge you want, because you know, you can make bigger shawls, smaller shawls, scarves, and the gauge is not as important as a garment. I'm sorry I filmed at this time of the day, but this is what we get. It's kind of like a bark brown. It's pretty much like the color of my nail polish. Yeah, that's, I guess, it's more true to color. She just broke the end of the yarn. Hey, no! You little demon. Down. What was I saying before getting distracted? Well, love that pattern. I highly recommend it. I know for some of you it might look, you know, scary and difficult, but it's not. Just follow step by step and you'll be surprised. This is going to be the last work in progress project that I show you for this episode. I have others, but I have other ones, but we're gonna stop with this one today. So let me do a little introduction to this. I actually bought this yarn for a special occasion because me and Mike are going to marry. For different reasons, our love doesn't need to be declared to the world, I guess, but it's nice to kind of be a couple also for the state. So if we have problems with the house, with building, whatever, it's nice that we are kind of a union. So for that reason, since I think we still haven't booked it, but for what we discussed, it's going to be like a very simple bureaucratic ceremony, if that makes sense. We go to the municipality and we sign this kind of contract in December this year, if everything goes well. And then in the future, when we kind of complete the house, or when we're more settled in this house and we can host people, we'll do a proper wedding celebration, right, Cucita? So now it's more like for the paperwork, right? So, but I still want to be cute. I still want to make something for myself and for him to wear during that beautiful day. So, I bought some yarn and I already started one of the projects. I have 3 projects that I want to make for this wedding. I want to make a cardigan for myself, a shawl for myself, and a vest for Mike, and maybe a hat for Mike as well, like a white hat or something. Cucita, please, calming down, please. I need to film this. Thank you. No, niente. Via, di qua. Just a little demon. Okay, I've already started the cardigan. I wasn't sure, like I had several patterns that I wanted to knit, but in the end I settled with this one, which is the, how is it? How am I going to show you this? This is the Tied and True cardigan, and I'm using a silk mohair yarn by Drops and an alpaca yarn. And I'm holding them together so it's not as see-through as the designer sample. But I'm sorry, like now it's all messy and I'm not sure you can see much, but I'll maybe put a picture of how I think it will look-ish, but the fabric is going to be more dense, as you can see. It's not that see-through because the pattern tells you to use, I think, 1 or 2 strands of silk mohair, but I decided to hold silk mohair and fingering weight yarn. And this is it. I started it, I finished the back, I'm doing the front, and then I'll eventually join the front and the back and continue knitting the body. And since I'm using, sorry, fluff in my mouth, since I'm using needle size 4.5 millimeters, it feels that it's quite of a fast project, which is also nice. I'm kind of, as Carolina, one of my wonderful wild allies, said, I want to put like love and joy and beautiful thoughts inside this cardigan as I knit on it. So I want to knit on it when I feel like, you know, I have a light spirit, a light heart, to kind of bring that energy into my project. But yeah, these are the 2 yarns that I'm using. Quite of simple yarns. The light is getting worse and worse. I apologize. So I'm very happy I started this, so I can actually have it. I can have it done for that special day that we still haven't decided with, you know, when it will be, but hopefully it will be this December. Otherwise, maybe New Year, after the New Year, maybe in January. We'll see. We'll see. When we have all the documents in place, we'll see how to proceed. But for now, I'm still going to knit on this. And then I want to knit a shawl holding a silk mohair double. So 2 strands of silk mohair. And I'll share the pattern. I'll put it on the screen. I don't remember what that pattern is called. And it's a beautiful shawl. And I have to thank Carolina for gifting me the pattern. Thank you so much. It means the world. I really love this pattern and I can't wait to knit it. And then I want to knit, as I said, a vest for Mike, because I want him also to have something to wear during that day that I've made. And I am still debating what vest pattern I should follow. So me and Cuchita are going to make some dinner, and I want to thank you all. Sorry for the little chaos in this episode, but we are growing wild. So I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you're working on, and I hope you had a beautiful celebration for this special day, Samhain or Halloween, and happy knitting, y'all.